Good evening. It is Mike.
And Katie?
It is episode 192.
Spooky season begins.
This week on Cup of Rad.
So first off, I love that he kind of went from vampire to Russian.
I almost had the count laugh after. 1. 9. Wait. Oh.
I totally had, like, when I went to go say the title, I was thinking Nadia, like, from What We Do in Shadows. I was trying to be like,
That fucking guy.
oh yeah,
Bat.
we should do that for Halloween one year.
Nadia
and Laszlo.
Yes. Boy. Come on, boy.
I love him so much. I love that he yells bat.
It's okay. Gay is in and gay is hot and gay is what we need. See, I could be Laszlo.
Yeah, there you go. He's all super confident about everything and like, I can open a vampire nightclub.
I can be, yes, bat. And then I just need to throw a rubber bat.
Yeah, right? That would be hilarious. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be back. Like, talking and everything.
Wait, who are you?
I know, right? Who are you and what have you done?
With my horse.
With my horse. So lovely long sickness has kept me away. And I finally am, like, I've been back now for a while, kind of. But I really feel comfortable in speaking without hacking. So that's always a bonus. Happy to get back to this. But we gotta then, Katie's well. We have to watch some things to be able to do for this podcast.
And then I got sick, so.
Yeah, so all of this fun thing. So I think we're well. We're doing good. In the midst of all of the sickness, though, we did watch a few things. Mm-hmm. One of which, to kick off the season, was Hocus Pocus 2.
Yeah, Disney Plus dropped the... Is it anticipated sequel to Hocus Pocus from 1993?
I think it was highly anticipated, mainly because everyone loves Hocus Pocus, not like this is going to be an amazing movie.
Yeah.
It was mainly just, I love it, so I want to see them again.
Yeah.
That's what I would go for.
So did Hocus Pocus 2, or Hocus Pocus 2, fill your cup?
Why?
Part 2.
You have used that so many times today. It's quite surprising. Yes. You know what?
It's for our one Francophone listener.
I know, right? I'm going to say, and I know this sounds bad, but it's not as bad as I was expecting. Overall, I was like, okay, this was fun.
Yeah.
But at the same side of that token there, I don't care if I watch it again.
Yeah.
Which is sad, but I wasn't expecting a lot from it. I never expected it to surpass the first one or really make it feel like I needed to watch them together because I never felt like it needed another story to be told.
Yeah.
And I was worried that it would undermine the first one. It
started to.
Yeah, being that said, I didn't... Overall, it didn't end up undermining it. It didn't undo really what it was, but at the same time, it does lessen the effect of what they had to go through to actually, have that magic there with the candle and having them defeat that that evil. But it changed it into the story was more of the power of family and that care about that bond that was there. And so it was kind of a weird switch for it. So I'm really kind of all over the place with it where I'm like, okay, it wasn't terrible, but I didn't really know what it wants to be. Like, it didn't feel like a Halloween movie anymore, but I really liked some of I liked the girls, their little lesson of coming back to each other. I like that story.
That was good. Yeah.
They weren't obnoxious or anything. Yeah. So it's a little everywhere. What are your thoughts on it?
It's basic.
Yeah.
It was very basic. I found that the beginning for me, it felt like kids cosplaying the three sisters.
Yeah.
And they were overacting. And it's like, you you realize that you grow and you change to become that person, and they were like acting like how they were.
Yeah, everything, all their mannerisms were the exact same, as if they just shrunk down.
Yeah,
and like, that wouldn't have been the case,
right? So that bothered me, because it was just like, more or less, it was going on. They're like, oh, look, they're cute. They're doing witchy things that we remember. That's amazing from our youth. They're just like us.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, he was actually quite angry, and you know what? I found it obnoxious too. I get it. Maybe that's just implying that they never really grew up.
Maybe.
I doubt that they were trying to go that deep with it.
It could easily be that, but it just, if I'm gonna watch a Hocus Pocus movie, I'm gonna watch Hocus Pocus, because the story in that was just, it was done. It was one of those movies that was done, and the only reason why I think they did this movie was because it had become a cult classic, right? Like, Hocus Pocus went from a nothing movie. It barely tipped the box office back in the day, to suddenly it's like Disney's biggest Halloween movie.
Yeah.
Right. And like, it's like what they did. It's almost like what they did with Nightmare. No one cared about Nightmare until it showed up at the parks. No one cared about Hocus Pocus until the Sanderson sisters showed up at Halloween time.
Really?
Right?
Interesting.
And then all of a sudden, everyone loves it, and everyone's like, holy shit, I miss this thing. Why isn't it back? And now it's like, sequel.
Weird.
So it's not a bad movie, but it's a useless movie.
Well, when you think about Hocus Pocus, it was quite edgy in itself, that it actually involved like real witchcraft, witch as idea, and like, an evil book and stealing souls, and like, it wasn't light and fluffy for its time period for things, but it was still light enough that I had no problem showing kiddo, because the only questionable thing was, what's a virgin? So otherwise it's
and
okay.
they play that off in this.
So I think that's where it fit. So to me, it's always been this really awesome Halloween movie, and it really felt like a Halloween movie. And this one didn't really feel like it was playing up enough of that.
Like, there was some laughs. I did laugh. There was some moments, like the beauty products scene. I thought that was pretty funny.
So what the things that were hard, that stuck out to me, that I was really upset about, was the performance scene with them on stage. I was really actually angry about it, because it felt
when on stage. I thought you meant when they came back.
Oh god, I blocked that out, because that was. But you know what? The only redeeming factor for that was the fact that they actually talked. Why are they performing? Who are they singing to? So, but it was that feel
almost too meta? Like, because are we fourth breaking in everything we do now?
Yes.
Right. Like,
but I didn't like that they showed up with all the parents and performed again with a different song, but like looked the exact same way, and it totally.
Instead of them dancing to their death, they flash mob to.
Yeah.
Right. So,
So the things when they took the old jokes and reused them, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
When they made new jokes, like the beauty cream scene.
Yeah.
That was funny. Yeah. That was good. I felt I really liked the mayor.
I felt so bad for that guy.
I felt so bad for him, right? But
I just wanted a candy apple,
right? And he was so happy about it. He was so
nice,
and he wasn't stupid.
Yeah,
he was just really positive and upbeat and happy. But I liked the new jokes, the new stuff that they did.
Yeah,
when they relied too much on the old stuff.
Yeah, it was that showed its nostalgia was showing through, right? And that's where it was. It was more or less for people our age that maybe have kids a little bit younger than our kid, to show them and be like, hey, it's new. I can still be cool.
Right. I think even kiddo, like, he thought it was fun, but I think he could care less really about it himself. I think he would rather watch, if I said, let's watch the original Hocus Pocus, I think he would be totally cool with that.
Yeah.
It's
that idea where it's that moment of like, using some IPs over and over again is fine, and then there's some IPs that just need to be one and done and come up with an original story.
Yeah.
Right. And that being said, it's better that they went with a sequel versus just remaking it.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. They could have easily done that and really changed it.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Exactly. So overall, it's there. I wasn't a total disappointment and a total loss. It was still fun for the night. So I guess I would still say you should watch it. Like I told my mom, like, yeah, I think you'd really enjoy it. Like you'd still, I knew, and I have a friend who's really like hardcore Hocus Pocus fan. They still found it fun.
Yeah.
But I think it probably exceeded a little bit of an expectation because it wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
But I think it was still unnecessary.
Yeah. It fit where I felt it would be like that 5 out of 10. It's like,
yeah,
you watch it, you get some laughs, but you kind of forget about it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't so bad where I was like, dear God, why am I watching this?
And,
right?
you know what? Yeah, you didn't totally check out during the movie.
Yeah.
So that's a bonus.
Yeah.
So you were homesick.
I was homesick.
And so you found things to watch. What'd you find?
Yeah, so I decided to do a whole Predator rewatch myself because, well, I was home and I was tired and I had nothing to do. Which is rare for me because usually when I'm sick, I still do things.
Right.
But yeah, so I watched the Predator films. I watched the whole shebang. The original Predator with Arnold, still loved it. The practical effects and all that and everything with it was just fan-friggin-tastic. I always had like good memories of Predator 2 because I'd actually seen Predator 2 before I'd seen Predator.
Oh, okay.
It was at a birthday party and the friend's brother went and rented movies because we were all like 13.
Oh, okay.
So he went and was like, or 12 or something. That was like,
so he was the cool big brother.
That was like, I'm gonna go get you guys some movies. Right? And that's when we saw Predator 2. And like, so that's why I had like fond memories because it was like this gory, like,
I'm watching something I shouldn't.
Yeah. Because out of that batch, he brought home The Stand too, that like miniseries, like that 6-hour-long miniseries from Stephen King, and it was like, hey, we all checked out on that. But Predator 2 was a shit. There was like guns and Jamaican dudes and drug dealers, but rewatching it, I was like, it is the stereotypical like 80s action movie, like more than say the original, because like this was the stereotypes that was being pushed in a lot of like in RoboCop and stuff like that, where it's like, the gangs have run rampant and taken the city by storm. Guns are everywhere, right? And like,
does it take place in a city? Or?
It takes place in LA.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So like, yeah, the Predator comes to LA and there's like an all-out gang war. And hardened cop Danny Glover goes against the Predator while he tries to solve the mystery of the gangs.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right?
So it sounds like a stereotype. Okay,
right. So like then every gang member is like just decked out in every possible stereotype possible. Even when they're on like the subway train, like they got like that laugh where they're like going along with all their chains and their studs and their makeup,
nice.
Right? So yeah. So and everyone has a gun on the subway too, right? Even the little granny, and hers is the biggest one, right?
Oh,
so
goodness.
it's that level of 80s like schlocky.
Okay.
Right. So watching that, I was like, okay, not nearly as cool as a bunch of guys out in the jungle. Basically.
I was gonna say the first one's in the jungle,
they're in the jungle. They're getting hunted, and like they're more like.
So it's more of a simple story then.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So. From that, it went to the Alien vs. Predator series, where it had Alien and then Alien vs. Predator Requiem, which I had completely forgot it was a direct sequel to Alien vs. Predator.
Oh, okay.
So Alien vs. Predator, it reminds me so much of a Sony movie. I think it's hilarious. It's like the Sony like underworld kind of tone. It's those blue colors. They're trying to make it PG-13, cut the violence out, make it kind of, and everyone's a bad actor, and they do things that make no sense. Alien is like completely overpowered compared to the Predator, and Predator gets his ass handed to him, right? And you're supposed to be stopping, and it was corny. And then out of nowhere, like the Queen, it bursts out, because the whole idea of the Alien vs. Predator is like up in like Antarctica or something. They all civilization, that's where it started, because Predator brought us our technology. So then we have like a temple, but we sacrifice so like Egyptians and Aztecs and Mayans
in
and stuff.
Antarctica.
Yeah.
What?
they go there and sacrifice themselves to become alien incubators so that the predators can then practice hunting the aliens. So the reason why the civilizations had all disappeared was because it was like the idea that there was other temples, and like maybe what they kind of showed the idea where it was like, oh, the aliens overpower the predators, so the predators then use like their bomb, and then like that's why the civilization disappeared, because like they nuked the area. Right.
Wow. So like really human beings really decided they needed to be at the middle of all of this.
Yeah.
Eh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right. So at the end of that one, you find out that a alien bursts out of one of the Preds corpses, right? And so then the second one starts, and that's where it starts, and then the crazy hybrid alien predator hybrid is killing all the predators on the ship, and then the ship crashes. So then the new predators have to show up. It crashes in like, nowhere, USA. Where like,
So it really stopped being any sort of the hunting aspect more than anything.
Yeah, it was a survival horror.
Oh, okay.
More, but like, yeah, so you got them battling it out, trying to figure out that, while you also then have like the human element, and they broke the one thing. So with the predator alien hybrid in AVPR, they broke the one rule, because predator doesn't usually kill kids, right? The hybrid kills a kid in that one.
Oh, okay.
But it's just they're very product of their time and not super amazing.
Oh, okay.
So then we went to Predators, right? Predators, and that one, it takes place with, it's got Adrian Brody in it.
Is it a sequel or is it just another story?
It's another story, but it does mention the first couple movies.
Oh, okay.
In kind of mainly the first movie, but it's the idea that predators have started taking people from the planet, from Earth, and dropping them on a planet, like a giant like
War World
game reserve, I guess they call it a game reserve.
Oh, okay.
And then they train that way.
Oh, okay. So they're just taking prey, basically.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that one's really good. It's produced by Robert Rodriguez, and that one was really good. I really like that one. That was a good movie. Like,
well, because it seems like it's gotten back more to the roots of.
Yeah. So you got like all these mismatched people trying to like figure out what to do when they're being hunted by like different predators.
That's cool.
Like they've got to survive, right? And what's cool too is like, because Topher Grace is in it, and everyone's like, "What the fuck? Why are you here?" Right? And because he's like, "Well, I'm a doctor. Like I was like, and you find out that he's actually a serial killer."
Oh,
right.
That's
cool. That's why he's there.
Nice.
So he doesn't do anything for the entire movie until the very end, where he goes to kill the girl. Right.
Oh wow.
So I thought it was kind of a cool. It's a nifty kind of movie. Then I watched The Predator, which was from Shane Black, and Shane Black was in the original Predator as an actor. He also worked as a punch-up writer. Shane Black's the guy that did like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, Nice Guys, Iron Man 3. I didn't like The Predator.
Oh, really?
It's too. It deals with basically, it's a busload of people, a busload of like soldiers that are like in jail basically, and they've all got some kind of issue from their time in battle. Right. And it's just, they're trying to recreate that banter of like the group, but then like they're all just weirdos, and they're just not really like, Keegan-Michael Key is in it.
Oh, weird.
Right. Like he got turned around and ended up killing his whole squad, thinking he was killing like the other guys. Right.
Oh.
That's why he's on the bus. Right.
Oh, okay.
Well, the only guy that survived it has Tourette's. And so they become best friends because he knows that he didn't do it on purpose. And like, so there's like, the one guy is a failed suicide attempt. And, so they've all got baggage. Right.
Oh, okay.
Well, the one guy who played the Corinthian in Sandman is the main antagonist, and like the beginning of the movie started out really strong, but when they get like to where they've captured the predator, and now like their predator escapes, and now he's trying to find his gear that the guy that played the Corinthian, can't remember his name, but shipped off the helmet and stuff to his family because that's smart.
Totally.
Now he's going after the kid that and because the kid cracked the the tech because they said he's on the spectrum for autism and he's considered the next form of evolution. And so the predator wants to then they find out that the predators actually have human DNA, which is actually, they realize they take the spinal columns and the fluid to help advance their society from the people that they've defeated. Right. It added too much humor, right? It became a big action.
It's interesting because what you're saying sounds interesting for the story points. But then if it's muddling it down with too big of action or too much humor, then like there's some interesting points for the story. But
it had like, it started out really strong and there was some interesting, but like then it was like, well, the predator that they were hunting and that they were trying to get rid of was actually the predator that came to Earth to try to bring Earth a weapon to fight the new evolution of predators. So then you had like these like, you know, predators already like 7 feet tall, but then there was like a 12-foot tall like predator that was there, and he totally destroys that one, and you find out at the end. But like how the movie ends is they find this gauntlet, the guy puts it on and it looks like a mecha predator, and the guy's like, well, what is this? And the main character guy played Corinthian goes, looks like that's my new suit, Bubba. Hope it comes in a 42 long.
Ugh,
that's how the movie ended.
Oh, that's terrible.
Right? And yeah, so it just kind of was just a bad taste. So, and then of course there's Prey, which we reviewed. I think honestly, out of all that, I would say watch Prey, watch Predator with Arnold, right? And then watch Predators. If you were to boil it down, those are my three favorite from this whole.
Gotcha.
And if you want nostalgia, if you feel like, I need more nostalgia sakes, Predator 2. Skip the rest. But Prey, Predator, and Predators. Yeah. That would be a
they're much simpler names, so
that would be a good trilogy. That's a fairly decent trilogy to see,
And some evolution within themselves,
right? And they all kind of follow that same point of being, so that's my soapbox review. So
that was good. I feel very enlightened about the machine.
But it did make me want to buy like Predator figures, though.
Of course,
I want to get a Predator figure to hunt my GI Joes. Like,
and you can put them in your little forest diagram.
Yeah, there you go. Predator like skinning GI Joes.
Yeah, outside the cabin, waiting for people. Yeah, that'd be good.
Sitting on the porch, carving. But yeah.
Oh, nice. So. Right on.
Spooky season has been brought upon you. A curse on your pox.
Huh.
Or your socks. May they be wet in dry shoes.
Sounds more like witchcraft, but hey, you know what?
Which is two. So what do we do? We're looking at this month. Spooky season. We'll see if it lasts. Who knows? Sometimes we tend to veer off. So
what? We never never.
Actually, I'm going to veer off right now.
Focus.
I'm going to veer off.
We are always on target.
I'm going to veer off right now. Because when we had last recorded, we said, "Hey, we're gonna be looking at doing the Clerks trilogy."
Wow, way back when. But then life threw a curveball at us.
Well, the cinema threw a curveball at us. We were, besides the sicknesses that were going on, the Clerks 3 did not play anywhere near us easily.
It was about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour away at theater.
At that time at night, it would have been closer to an hour and a half.
Yeah. 7 o'clock at night on one day.
Yeah. One showing.
That would not have been easy for us to do. Plus, we were sick, and I didn't think I could go through something without coughing. So, yeah.
One showing, about an hour, 20 minutes away.
So, Clerks trilogy has been postponed until we can...
TBA. It will just show up when it finally happens.
Yeah, because we have the first two. We can watch it.
Yeah.
Freedom of DVD.
Yeah.
But,
we got to figure out how
to do the third one. So...
Yeah. But yeah, so that happened. Other thing I was really disappointed for and I was really looking forward to doing was the new Hellraiser, which is on Hulu, and I was fully not expecting it to drop on Star Plus because that's what's been happening with everything. And this time around, they played a big old nope card. Nope, Stradamus came in and...
Nopey nope nopes.
Yeah. So Hellraiser kind of got kiboshed on that.
He took that one well.
I didn't throw anything.
No.
I was pissed.
It's okay. I totally get it.
I was legitimately getting excited for this. And I think it just compounded with that idea that it was like, you know, we couldn't see Clerks.
Yeah.
Right. Because it was like, you know, limited release, you know, super hard. Then it was like, oh, sorry, you're in Canada. Fuck you. You know, you don't get to watch it.
Yeah.
And then there was some like, and then you see like, oh, you guys need to watch this movie. Oh, but it's on this streaming service. Oh, that streaming service isn't available in Canada. Right.
Yeah.
So they don't put any of this stuff. So it's like the streaming wars are legitimately, as much as I was like a big supporter of like, yeah, throw that stuff on video on demand during COVID. Mm-hmm. It's like, the cinema is kind of floundering because they're playing movies that are free on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Right? Like you could go see Lightyear and Thor still, but I can watch them on Disney Plus for free.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, no different than like Avatar re-release is on there right now. Mm-hmm. And as much as it would be great to see it in theater, I appreciate it. It's also still available for free.
Yeah.
Like, why? You know?
Right? We still have the Blu-ray. Right. So there's things like that, and I don't know, it just kind of pissed me off. Yeah. And it just is that proof of like, this is the dangers of streaming. Yeah. Right. And,
well, there was a movie you wanted to watch for our podcast here that was probably disappeared from Netflix as of October 1st. Mm-hmm. We went to go watch it and it was gone, and now it's nowhere to be found.
It doesn't show up on any of the streaming that we have available.
And we have all of them available that we pretty much can up here. Except for Apple. And we don't have the option to go. We can't go out and rent it. We can't go out and buy it.
Yeah, it's not even available on demand to rent, which I thought was crazy.
Right? So I think that's really frustrating. It very much limits. We're at the whim of the streaming services of what they have available versus being able to make our own choice. And so when we have moments like this, I'm like, I wish we did have the ability to buy more things, but there's a catch-22, because then we do have the ability to watch things that we don't care about buying, but it is difficult.
Right. But even still, like, our Walmart doesn't sell DVDs anymore.
Yeah, we'd have to. I don't even know where to go.
They have one column of DVDs now.
Well, yeah.
And it's just like the brand new ones on Blu-ray. Mm-hmm. Like, so it's just
there's our
crazy
rant about streaming services and that tangent.
It's the idea where I think if you're going to do it, just do it big. Like, make it, you know. But Netflix got rid of a lot of their horror movies.
Yeah, they do it as of October 1st. I've never understood that. They do it every year.
Yeah. It's like their licensing runs out and those movies go somewhere into the ether. So that's just like this big haha. You want to watch spooky movies? Fuck you.
Should have done it in September. Right? We told you pumpkin spice latte season started earlier. You should have been doing it in September.
Right? August. August is a new October.
Christmas movies start now. Jeez, people. So we are still on our tangent for spooky season.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
Vampires.
Yeah. So the plan is to watch a lot of vampire movies. Now we've had a lot of requests for The Lost Boys. We did The Lost Boys last year. Go find our podcast episode for The Lost Boys. There was another one that was suggested too that we did a year ago or so. So we're gonna try to stay away from ones that we've seen recently, at least, and we're gonna move forward with that. So we picked 3 for this last while, and it might kind of go with a theme for the episodes as things go.
We're not going to promise anything. We're just going to keep.
We're going to promise. This is our guarantee that you will get something.
Well, you know what?
At some time, somewhere.
Our best promise is our best, repeat thing is to promise something and then kind of halfway deliver. So we need to keep promising. So we kind of
the other day at my bartending
people
gig,
won't know what to expect.
Someone said something to me, and I was like, I'm realizing that I'm kind of like, I believe my lineage actually evolved from cats because like I'm lazy yet adorable. I'm very aloof, but when I need to do something, I do it. And then there's those moments where I do something so good that you're like, holy shit, that was cool. But I'll never do it again because you're expecting it. And then I'll just surprise you. Unless I want to.
I feel like doing that.
Yeah. So my bloodline is,
You have a giant fuck you attitude, but at the same time are adorable and so good about what you do that it is forgivable.
Yeah. See, I'm a cat.
You are a cat.
Literally.
Yep.
Feline DNA runs through these veins.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So on that matter.
Vampires.
First vampire movie.
First vampire movie of the season. Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Nice. I was really excited to watch this. I have never read the book. I know so much of the story over many, many years of hearing about it and knowing people who read the book and hearing about the story and all the different, everything. I know this is not a replacement for the novel. It makes me want to read the novel, which was a good thing. But this was definitely a fun experience because it felt like I was watching a novel come to life, the way that it was portrayed. Mm-hmm. So what was this, early 90s? Mid-90s?
Yeah,
somewhere
90,
around there?
I want to say 93.
Francis Ford Coppola.
Yeah.
You had said?
I don't need to talk. You got all the answers today.
I know, everything. I'm taking it over, man. I really enjoyed this movie. And
92.
I
thought it was around there. Yeah.
I kept thinking 94, but 92 makes sense too.
I thought it was 93, but yeah, 92.
So somewhere. So we went in the middle there. No,
I figured it was the mystical 93 year because all the good shit came out in 93. Google it.
I really enjoyed this movie. It was, I didn't know.
Gary Oldman played Count Dracula.
He was fucking creepy. And I was not expecting that.
Well, Universal's Dracula was so like charming and
right, and I thought this was like he was so unnerving and like ugh.
Yeah,
but then when he turned all young again, he was just so like
grease my sheets, baby. The look on your face is amazing. Because I can't.
And that just kind of went. Ugh.
I can't tell if that was like.
No, it was.
Oh, okay.
It was. But then I was thinking about all the others like sex type stuff in it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was funny how often she just didn't have a blouse on and her boobs were just
kept popping out. Yeah.
Yeah. But also that's cool. Whatever. I liked. It was this perfect mix of love, the sex that does come with vampires, and also the romance that was involved and the I was really interested in it.
Yeah.
And as I say, from the very beginning with how he would move and pop around and extend his shadow. Mm-hmm. Oh, that just really freaked me out. But it was really interesting.
Yeah.
What I'll let you talk now. Here you go, Mike. It's your time to shine.
Rewatching this, because this is one I've seen before.
Yes.
Rewatching this made me realize that this film would never be made by a major studio in this day and age. Mm-hmm. This movie was made by TriStar, Columbia, and all that. This reminded me more of like an A24 film. Mm-hmm. This felt like a Robert Eggers film of today. Yeah. Right.
Because it had really weird, trippy shots and
there's weirdness and it's
weird.
There's animation and there's, just long drawn pauses and, but it's very focused much more on the acting, less on the actual horrific acts. Mm-hmm. Right. And the sex that is in it. And it's just a wild thing to think of that this was nominated for Oscars, right? Yeah. That's how cool the 90s were.
They cared about acting and the way something. This was a drama back then too. Yeah, it was really interesting.
Yeah, it's just such a well done horror film, Yeah, because it takes that novel and it does spin it out. I still really like it.
Well, I thought it was I really liked the beginning. And And I know you said you weren't quite sure how it lined up with the novel idea.
I can't remember because it's been so long since I read the novel.
And so with just thinking about just the movie itself, I like that you had this actual intro, like origin story for him of how he became this way. Because so often it's like Dracula exists and then that's the origin for all the other vampires.
Yeah.
Versus how did Dracula come into being?
Yeah.
And, you know, the psychological discussion and philosophy behind immense loss and loss of his belief in his religion. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a huge thing, and it's deep and it's heavy, and it's the concept of how corrupting and how terrible that would feel.
Yeah.
On top of almost the karma of his life of killing all these people and doing all these horrible acts, and then almost it twisting in on itself to be something. Was it his guilt? Was it actual karma for the world? Was it just the loss? Was it everything that created this horrific curse and a monster? Mm-hmm. And like just that story, that concept alone, it's just really interesting. Yeah. And that almost like that long lost love feel and the meant to be and the stuck on the past. I mean, that's it. That is his curse, is stuck on the past, not being able to move forward. So then you kind of feel bad for him, but then you don't, because he's a scary monster and he's twisting and morphing and fucking up people's lives because he can't let go of the past. Yeah. You know, and so you have this, you know, the end of it, it's I'm so happy that he's free. I'm so happy that she's not a vampire. And yet, you know, she's never going to be the same. She's never going to be able to really let go of this. You know, Jonathan's never going to be able to really let go of all of this. Like there's an impact that has happened, you know, and her friend is dead and like all these things have happened. Yeah. So I really liked it. And so to me, because you can see all those big, heavy storylines, that's why it feels like a classic novel come to life. Is because you can still see those like core principles. Yeah. Opposed to, but it was still done in a really artful, interesting way. Yeah. You know, and so I'm really pleasantly happy with it. Like I would watch it again. Yeah. So maybe not like next year, but it's because it is a heavy movie, but you know.
Well, yeah, that's the thing that's interesting to see, like how they were able to spin that web through it all. And I love the effects, especially when Jonathan shows up and he's so old and creepy and, you know, it's the shadow unnerving. Freaked me out. And just like, yeah, I love the fact that the shadow moves differently. Yeah. Right? Like those little things. And it's just those details.
Tapping on his shoulder from across the room and like, huh.
Yeah. So no. Bram Stoker's Dracula from Francis Ford Coppola is an excellent vampire film for sure.
Like I was thoroughly impressed by it.
But see, I still like Universal's Dracula, even though it's old and corny, but like you can see the parallels, right? Yeah. You can see that. Oh, the other thing that I saw when I was watching this now, because it's been such a long time since I've seen it, and we'd also recently watched Van Helsing, right? Last year or the year before.
I was going to say it's been years since we watched it, but
no, we watched it. We reviewed it for the podcast.
Weird. Okay.
The fact of how much of Van Helsing actually mirrors more of Bram Stoker's Dracula than, say, Universal's Dracula.
Well, especially at the end with the way the scene is rushing up to the castle.
The castle, like all the Transylvania and stuff like that. Yeah, all
of that.
Right? And I was seeing that. I was like Stephen Sommers was like making more of an homage to Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula than I think the actual, you know.
Oh, and we didn't even touch on the fact of Van Helsing in this movie. I loved him. What a like smart but cocky old man. Yeah. It's just, he's the true scientist where he's like, yep, this is what it is. And he's just stone cold and not emotion.
We'll put the stake in her heart and cut off her head.
And it's just science. And it's just matter of fact. And yeah, that sucks for you that we got to kill this person, but whatever for science. And I thought that was so funny. The other thing, I feel from What We Do in Shadows that Nandor's voice is based on Van Helsing. from this movie.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because when it started and there was a narrator, all I could think of was Nandor. And I was like, it feels like Nandor is narrating this movie. What is going on?
Going to Transylvania, that fucking guy.
So that was definitely felt
if
like...
you can't tell, we love the TV show What We Do in Shadows.
Yeah, so that felt like an inspiration for that, and I thought that was quite funny. But
which is also Vampire, which the season just ended. So go watch that.
And that was
hilarious.
Amazing season. Like, I was sad when it was done.
Yeah.
And because it just flew by and it was hilarious.
Yeah.
So yes, it very is apparent that we like it. But yes, so that was my last little bit there, the Van Helsing aspect.
No, that makes sense. So that filled your cup.
Yes, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I would highly recommend it.
It was like a latte for her. Full sugar latte.
Oh, yeah. Next up.
Next movie. We finally did something.
14 years in the making.
We finally decided to check something out. I'd always stayed away from this because of my trauma from working in books with it.
I just stayed away from it because I like to boycott things for long periods of time.
We
watched it.
We did. We finally... I was actually looking for a shorter movie, and I thought this was only like a 90-minute movie. It was a 2-hour movie.
You were wrong.
I was wrong. I was dead wrong. Yeah, we watched Twilight.
I'm just going to let that soak in for a moment.
Well, actually, you know what?
Okay, no, I watched Twilight.
Katie watched Twilight.
Mike fell asleep.
That's right. The guy that doesn't usually fall asleep in movies fell asleep twice.
I just gave up trying to wake him up.
Thank you.
Because then it was just like, no, I'm not sleeping. What are you talking about?
I did that once.
Yeah. And I was like, I can see your eyes closed. Just whatever.
Okay. I was so bored.
So, this movie was terrible. I have no other way to say it. It was a terrible movie. Now that that's said, I can see why everyone loves Edward. I can see the appeal of it as a character for the teenage everything. Again, based just on the movie, not on the book. Always assuming that the book is going to be more in depth and emotion. I can see all of that, but the way that this movie was laid out, it was boring. They are definitely young actors, and
it felt like a CW show.
Yeah, being directed in a very immature movie, right? It didn't feel like there was high demands for them because it almost kind of felt like, well, everyone loves the book. That's what it kind of felt like it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
But mainly the terribleness comes from like the weird, awkward staring at one another.
Oh, they were like softcore porn ready.
And there were so many of those moments.
I'm just going to stare at you like that now.
Yeah, I know. And it's not okay. It's not okay because it's not even like hot to look at. It's a problem too because they're babies and you can stop that anytime now. Oh, good gracious. Oh, the job of the hot face is coming out. I don't know why. So
I can't really talk too much about the movie because I fell asleep.
He fell asleep. So
I had to mention twice.
I will say that it got. No, it didn't get better. It had moments where it was okay. I didn't really like how much Edward changed. Like he went from being like so serious and so angry to all of a sudden, I'm going to let you in, and then I'm going to be angry, and I'm going to yell at you and tell you need to go away. But by the way, I'm also going to show you that I sparkle, because what the fuck is that? What is the sparkle? Crystal, and you know what? You know what the first thing I thought of when I saw the sparkle? The Trolls movie.
Oh, yes, you did.
And I was like, why am I thinking of
you think Guy Diamond from the Trolls
all
movie?
I could think of was Guy Diamond, and it was like, he was a troll vampire, and that's all I could think of, and that was weird. So then it was like, okay, well, I've shown you all this, so whatever, we're just gonna let this happen. And then I'm gonna be like totally cool, and we're gonna be like totally normal people, and everything's great. And he was like super charismatic and super relaxed and super fun. And I'm like, I'm a little bit like whiplash, what like she had said, whiplash on your. So it was kind of. It was frustrating and weird. So
can you tell me how it ended?
Yes, I'm getting to that. So then it went. Because I
woke up when like they were fighting dudes and like.
So you don't know how they got there, of who they were fighting, or anything?
I remember seeing them drive.
Do you know what they were driving from? Or you asleep first?
Those other vampires that they thought were like even scarier.
Yeah, so there was other vampires that were hunting. So because his family, of course, is non-human feeding, right? Yeah. So these other vampires had been passing through and they were killing humans and grabbing attention, right? So they were playing their baseball in the lightning because they can play baseball in thunderstorms. And they were playing all this. Well, then they went to go, this other group of vampires showed up and they smelled her and they went to go attack her. So then the one was a tracker and he decided that now he needed to get her. So then it was this mass family, like save the human. And so she had to tell her dad off and say that she needed to leave and that he's terrible and she hates him and everything was horrible. So she could leave without him following her to try to save him. And so then they drove all the way to Phoenix. And then the vampires still managed to find her down there and lure her away, saying that her mom was held hostage. And then that's why she left without telling the vampires where she was going. And so then he's trying to fight her. And then Edward shows up and they end up cutting his head off and like taking him down. And then, by the way, they're trying to, burn him. But in the meanwhile, she had gotten bit. So she was turning into a vampire.
I remember sucking the poison out.
Yes. So it was, well, then now you need to bite her and suck the poison out or let her transform and, learning to control himself and not actually drain her. So that was the big like crux moment there. It was, can he, does he love her enough to control himself and not kill her to save her life? And then she wakes up in the hospital. And,
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So there's that. So like,
I kind of went. I must have gone.
You went in and out.
Yeah, faded.
So like some of that action was better because then there wasn't the weird longing and staring at people, and then so you had a certain amount of like really caring and you could please stop.
I'm just giving you the looks from what I remember.
Yeah. No, it's not. No. Yeah. It's like a weird. That's a weird face. And so as I say, like some of it, I can see those key elements that the reason why it's popular and why especially a teenage girl would have looked at that and been like, he's going against his nature to do anything it is to protect me. And he's like super protective. And, they don't see it, the fact that he's like basically saying, well, he literally said, you're a drug to me and I can't help myself around you. And it's like, so there's a certain amount of he's so in love with me, he can't control himself. He needs to be with. So you see all that and you're like, yeah, this is why. Yeah. I can see where all this come from. And some of it, you can understand and feel that like that vibe, and you can see why then women really would have appreciated it and fallen into it more than men, right? Yeah. But overall, even after all these years, even after like just letting go of like I'm gonna hate this and this is terrible, going in.
I honestly tried.
I was excited to watch it, and
I'm falling asleep.
Right? You're like, oh my god, make it stop. I was really looking forward to, because a lot of the times when I boycott something, I find that I shouldn't have boycotted it. Mm-hmm. That I have like held up against something, and like say Sailor Moon. I was like, well, this is how could I possibly like this? Like, those types of stuff. And I read it and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so in love with this. This is amazing. I kind of was hoping for something of that. Yeah. Maybe not like this is the greatest thing ever, but like, okay, I can see. No, this was not. Yeah. This is like, yep, I totally still wasted my time. On that note, still fully, I have to finish this. I have to see it all the way through because I have to see if it's going to get better. And then I'm laughing even more from that line in the movie, our last movie that we're going to be reviewing, because there's a whole discussion about Twilight and how it got better with the last movie and how exciting it was. And I'm like, this is why I have to just see it through. So you get naps, once a week coming up. Just know that. So all of that discussion, here you go. Do you have anything to add to this?
No, I can't make a really judge opinion other than I found the film dull and I couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
So like,
but it is definitely not to me, for power to you if you're a guy and you like this movie, but it is not geared towards men at all.
Yeah. Well, for as feminine as I can be in things and enjoy, this romance story was not for me.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I can't really say much to it.
Yeah.
Tune in next week for when we find out how much Mike napped during New Moon.
Whatever. Yeah.
Whatever.
For not knowing, an exorbitant amount of details about the Twilight Saga. There you go. I finally did it. And kind of still regretting it at the same time, but
she says we're gonna keep going.
Now I'm stubborn and I have to see
all I
the way
can think
through.
of is like the Grateful Dead trucking along.
Yep, trucking.
So the next movie, we were originally gonna try to watch a vampire movie with Kiddo. We suggested to watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and then he was like, "No, I don't want to watch that, but I want to stay up." So we're like, "Go to bed."
Yeah.
So we ended up, I went to go watch 30 Days a Night, like we were talking, but it's no longer on streaming that we have, and it wasn't for rent.
Yep.
So we checked out Netflix's original Day Shift starring Jamie Foxx and James Franco.
The younger
Dave Franco.
Dave Franco, right? That's what his name is?
Not the pervert.
The younger Franco brother?
The younger one that actually is nice.
Yeah. He's adorable. He's just so cute.
So weird to see him in a movie like this, though. After seeing his director debut last year.
He directed a movie?
The Rental?
Oh.
Yeah, Dave Franco.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He directed The Rental.
That's weird.
That was a dark, creepy movie.
Yeah.
Huh.
But yeah, so we checked that out. We thought, it would be kind of funny and for laughs. And it starts out with action right out the gate.
Yeah.
Creepy vampire, acrobatic insanity.
They paid every contortionist in Hollywood to be on this film.
Right?
Like, vampires can bend and twist and contort.
They have no actual bones.
Yes, they're like jelly people. So the Day Shift is basically that there's vampires and there's hunters and you get paid for the teeth.
Yeah.
And you either do it underground or you're part of this thing called the Union, which pays better, but you have to follow Union rules.
Yeah.
That's the gist of the story.
Yeah, so he's he's a hunter that's been kicked out of the Union. He has basically a deadline of trying to pay back his ex-wife some money here. It's to keep his family in town, so he's got that on the line. So he needs to make a lot of money very short amount of time, so he goes crawling back to the Union to see, because that's the only place that he can get the money for it. And he gets put on the day shift and has a Union rep assigned to him. Essentially, his boss is trying to catch him breaking the rules.
So he can permanently kick him out forever.
Yeah, so that's Dave Franco is the Union rep who is just an office guy, not been out on the field at all. And it's the, drive around town and try to figure out where he can find some vamps. And in the midst of that, you kind of have this overall story of this realtor that is buying up a lot of things that you find out
vamp.
That she's a
Uber vamp, as they call her.
Uber, yeah, an old vampire there. And so there's a bunch of different types of vampires. There's a lot of you get introduced about some of the facts and lore about them just throughout the movie. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely an action comedy.
Yeah, it's like a Zombieland.
Yeah.
Kind of meets John Wick.
Yeah.
Feel like that kind of action.
Yeah.
Where it's just
Snoop Dogg's in it.
Snoop Dogg was
surprisingly good, fun for it.
He plays a cowboy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you know Snoop Dogg's 6'4"?
It's crazy.
I didn't realize how tall he was. That's what I want to see how tall Jamie Foxx was, because I didn't think Jamie Foxx was that short.
He looks like a towering monster man. Well, the first thing was they showed a thumb scan of him getting into this building, and Mike's like, "Dear God, that's a big thumbnail." So that was overall. Wait a second. Snoop Dogg's ginormous.
So Jamie Foxx is shorter than me. He's 5'9".
Holy cow. So he's like a Tom Cruise thing where you just don't realize how short he actually is.
Yeah, Tom Cruise is 5'4", though.
Yeah, I know, but Tom Cruise is my height?
Yeah.
That's so crazy, man. He doesn't feel like it. But overall, so I really enjoyed this movie. It was funny.
It was ridiculously fun. This is probably the most I've enjoyed a Netflix original movie in a while. Mm-hmm. Because A, the trailers didn't give away too much of the movie. B, it didn't have a tonal shift like some Netflix movies have had.
It stayed the same all the way through.
And yeah.
It had subtle character development that felt legitimate.
Yeah.
Nothing was a total shift where it felt like, how did they get from point A to point B?
Yeah.
It was, okay, this tracks.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, the action was absurd. The vampires died more like zombies, which was hilarious. And the humor was fairly decent.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun. It kept it was completely ridiculous, just like gory popcorn flick.
Well, because in it, you didn't care about the vampires at all. You know, the main character was Jamie Foxx. It was the human development of things. The vampires were just a job and the monster that needed to be killed, and just the background noise, right? So it was definitely a different shift.
Yeah. It's very stylized. The whole scene in that one house though with the bros.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing a movie with those two guys. They were annoying as all can be, but like the action scene that they put when he throws the bullet and he catches it in the gun to shoot the one, I was like,
so ridiculous.
It's so dumb, but so cool.
Right?
My man is showing right now, right? Like, yeah.
This was so badass.
Yeah, right, bro.
Yeah, he does. Well, he does a lot of the no-handed cartwheels where he just flies around too and kicks people as well, and
with the blades on the front and back of his boots.
Of course, yeah. But yeah, nothing is better than, you know, I'm short, you know, but he throws the bullet from his gun. So he like chucks it, opens it up, throws the bullet out of the chamber somehow. Then his brother flips around, catches it as he like scoops it up, and then still shoots the vampire. It's pretty epic, man.
Yeah.
Pretty epic.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's not a ton to say about this because there was no deep meaning thing. No. It was just like a fucking good time.
Yeah, you're just like, it's like a beer and chips.
Yeah.
You're like
this was
I just wanted to see a good guy kick the shit out of something.
Yeah.
And being that they're vampires and these dead creatures, you're not like, oh, people are dying. You're like, yeah, kill those monsters.
And yeah, because there was nothing, say with the vampire, there was no sex involved with it. They were just bad monsters.
It was cool to see there was something, they added something a bit to the lore of vampires, that they had ridges on their teeth, their fangs, that showed their age. Yeah,
so a whole point of it, when they would bring the fangs in, they could tell what kind of vampire it was, how old they were, you know, things about them.
Yeah.
And,
you know, teeth tell a story.
Yeah, and you would learn that, you know, the one vampire says that, you know, the only thing they can't live without is their teeth, and that's the only thing they can't regenerate. Yeah. So once, you can kill them, but then the idea, like, once you take their fangs, they're definitely dead.
Yeah.
And learning all the different, it was almost like, you know, you have all these monsters and you have certain ways to kill them. Mm-hmm. But then within the vampires, then you have all these different ways to kill the vampires. So the hunters that create these different weapons for the different varieties of vampires and the different evolutions that they have. Some of them regenerate, some of them don't, you know. Yeah. So you have all that and the different kind of subcultures. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was an interesting concept with him. But it was almost like this side, like, FYI more than anything, right?
Yeah.
I mean, one of them was an integral part of the story, but
Yep, it was fun. Like I could see
I would recommend it. It was fun.
If you just want a ridiculous vampire killing movie, it's fun, and it doesn't have any questionable humor or values, right?
Yeah.
Like and I could see them making a movie called The Night Shift and being a sequel with how it ends.
And because
I'd probably give it a watch.
Yeah, it felt like it you didn't need one, but it would be worth it, and it kind of set the ground for something. Yeah. And to see Jamie Foxx and Franco together as a duo, it was fun.
Yeah.
Like it was
played off each other well.
Yeah.
So, in that kind of that nerdy vibe versus like the hardened.
Yeah. Well, and as I say, I really liked Jamie Foxx's character.
Mm-hmm.
He evolved and shifted just enough that it felt legitimate.
Yeah.
In a good way. You really liked them, and it was like, yes, the good guys won. You know, and that was refreshing. That he wasn't a douchebag that you didn't really want to win, you know? So, and because he was a good dad, he was a, good everything. But so, yeah, I'm like, the more I talk about it,
I was really pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. So
as I say, probably one of the most I've enjoyed it, kind of a Netflix movie that was based in that action genre. Mm-hmm. Right. So
there we go.
As you can tell, there was a bit of a theme to our vampire choosing. Mm. We had the dramatic vampire. Mm-hmm. We had the Twilight vampire. Mm-hmm. And then we had the Shalaki kind of ultra-violent or goofy vampire.
A little bit of everything there.
So that was what I was promising. That was what I was saying. Was that's kind of the theme for this month. We're going to try to find movies that fit those three categories, I think.
So we're promising Mike's Nap. We're promising something serious. And we're promising something not one of those two. Ooh. No. Is that
that's how we end fights now?
That's how we end fights? That's just the weird, awkward, Twilight stares? Just like, it's so not but it's weirdly arousing. Just stop. Just stop. No, you're not creepy now. It's like...
So, yeah.
That's so funny.
So that's kind of the goal. Hopefully,
but you see, it's better if you act as if like the "I will do anything for you," the intensity of him, like I am here for you, right? You can't just stare. You also, yeah. It's weird, man.
It's very weird, huh?
It is weird.
Yeah. So that's.
If you ever see Mike in person, ask him to demonstrate his Twilight face at you. Just see if it's as awkward to you as it is to me.
Just randomly. All right, good to know. I'll be like Twilight facing everywhere.
Okay, so more movies next week.
Let's hope that we can do it.
That's the plan, man.
Vampire movies. The vampire movies.
That's the plan.
Each week you get a spooky vampire in your ears. So,
we're gonna stay healthy.
We're gonna stay healthy.
We're gonna stay healthy. Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be exciting. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a wonderful spooky day.
And remember, stay rad.